well, the Calypso Monarch, she is a queen. Terry Lyons checks into the end of the program. So sit back, relax, enjoy. It is time for your morning brew on this Feel Good Friday, the Friday after Carnival 2026. See you soon. Still running in, you know, honestly, between, I think, yesterday and day before, the running was a little bit strained. I was still going through some of the little niggles and pains you feel after the carnival. As a matter of fact, we walked so much. I was checking my watch. I think I had about 30-something thousand steps. Yeah, I mean, remember you're trotting to St. James, Muckrapper Road, then you head down the avenue. If it's one thing for carnival, you do lots of walking, you do lots of cardio. And I would imagine whatever you would have had in the all-inclusives or at home, you get a chance to burn it out on the road. But nonetheless, we say welcome. Jason Williams signing on. Great to be in your company. Great show carded, as mentioned. That important conversation on social justice is around the corner. Panaz, amazing pan group that really featured in the 90s. Documentary, their stories being told. I saw a beautiful screening some months ago, and I would imagine that's the same production that will be in Movie Town. So we get details concerning that. Paul Kins Douglas steps in, national treasure. I remember growing up listening to Paul Kins Douglas, and the fact that I can now have a conversation with him as a grown man. He's still around doing his thing. I'm so pleased. And later, Terry Lyons, the Calypso Monarch. What a night. She took it by storm. It was a foregone conclusion. That performance was above and beyond. And we congratulate Terry. Well done. We check in with Terry later on. Let's see what's happening via the Trinidad and Tobago Guardian. There is lots to unpack. And so far, we are seeing here where ministers say, based on reported crime, the national security apparatus stood up to the major test. That is always Carnival, and it was deemed the safest carnival in 20 years. Now, I gave commendation and kudos to the commissioner who I saw out and about with his troops. Very visible. He understands the optics. He was there in the Fed, on the road, moving in his fatigues. I recognize the Punisher emblem thing come off. Thank God for that, because that is not part of the uniform. So I don't know whose idea it was to put this Punisher patch. That's not the message we're trying to send out there. But nonetheless, he was on the ground, moving, and many, including myself, felt very safe. I saw even some of to me, it looked like recruits. Some real fresh-faced police, like you could tell, milk in the face, like many of them now pass out if they're still in training. I don't know from whence these officers came. But some real, when I tell you, young, looking like just come out on the scene. They too were hitting the road, moving around and keeping us safe. So well done. I have to say, again, kudos, the third day running to the commissioner and the troops for keeping us safe. Now listen, Carnival is never without an incident. There will always be some kind of small disruption somewhere. But overall, yes, it was a safe one. We're looking at Minister Sturge. She confirms U.S. raiders still active in Tobago. I mean, why would it not be active? I mean, we went through all this at a debate on Hullabaloo. That debate, that raider there to stay. And again, you could have an argument. We could go back and forth on it. But that raider, it put down. It had to do it. It fulfilled the purpose. And I guess it's going to stay. So that's a discussion. When I have any kind of interview with Minister Sturge, I'll probably get some more details there. And I guess the security experts could always inform me and the nation as to the significance and if that will play a positive role, really, in our national security apparatus. So that's a discussion for somewhere next week or further down the road. Unfortunately, 3 more murders over a 24-hour span. That unfortunate development here on page 10. And the government apologizes to Hill and Francis for the audio drop. That was I tell you, that was either a faux pas or coincidence. And as I mentioned this week, I don't really believe in coincidences. That was a real faux pas. As the man as he sat to pressure them in Kaiso. Man, audio drop, yes? Many thought was censorship. But then again, how would we know? Eh? I wasn't there. I wasn't part of the technical team. Just like you, I was home looking at the show. And I found myself kind of switching between YouTube. I went back to the station I was carrying it. Of course, that's, as you see there, the government station, where I started my career. Timmy, so many of us started our career there. That's where we put down with Naval String, but I never heard of that kind of development before. So unfortunate. But nonetheless, I guess recognizing a wrong was done, they sent forward a formal apology. Let's head to the back page, see what's happening via sport. And our men in maroon looking good. Looking good. We stay perfect. And we're going to move now into the business end of the tournament. So let's see what's happening for the Super 8. I have to say that, we have been there before and we have won this competition before. And based on the formats, the 2020 seems to be our most viable option in terms of going all the way. For some reason, the white ball, 50 overs, a little bit shaky. And well, test, forget it. We don't have the capacity, the mental fortitude, the patience anymore. Even the fans don't come out to see tests. I'm looking at these test games in Australia, in England, still very much a big turnout, big crowds. A test in the West Indies, why not even the dog that pissed on the wall of Babylon is in attendance? Nobody. I remember long time, you go a test, I go with my mom, then you over, you go with your little cooler and your pillow, Auntie Maureen, Auntie Sharon, I remember it like it was yesterday. The old man there in the corner with the transistor radio, listening to the commentary, the nuts man passing. It's just, it's commentary, it's vibe, it's action. A little stray dog running through the stand, people healing a brongy. It was an atmosphere. No, for tests, people like that, they don't have the time. 5 days for a result, and this year timing, and people have work and bills to pay. Like people, I test. I can safely say test. If it's not dead, it's on life support here in the West Indies, and I guess it reflects in the performance of the players. So that's a whole different discussion when it comes to tests. But 2020, fast-paced action, girls in short pants, music. People seem to lean towards that format of the game. But again, I don't know. I don't know if marketing, I don't know what could be done to bring back the vibes for tests. Because again, I'm looking at Australia, New Zealand. Certainly when you look at what's happening in England with a test. People in the stands, big turnout, massive turnout. People come in for the first day, second day, third day, right down to the fifth. I don't know. We have gone a whole different direction. That's a different discussion, though, for a different day. We want to keep it light on this Friday morning, Friday the 20th. The month already on its way out, We're going to welcome March very soon. Let's see what's happening via our brief. Lost Tribe, K2K take Downtown Carnival titles. Yes, as I say, there's always the mass, the beads, Bam Bam in the road, and then there is the mass. And what K2K and Lost Tribe bring to the table is the mass. Yes. You spread your wing, you have cloth, you have big elaborate headpiece, presentation, dance sequence. There's something for everyone in the carnival. So well done to Lost Tribe and K2K for keeping that part of the tradition alive. And I'm watching here some activity from Castara, fishermen pulling their nets. Beautiful sight indeed. Beautiful sight there on Ash Wednesday. Let's hear from the king of soca, the soca pinnacle, the soca blueprint, the soca template, the road match winner, the all-time road match winner, Machel Montano. We'll hear from him. He had a beautiful press conference yesterday, and he had a chance to express himself and really explain, go into detail, the victory and just his journey for this Carnival 2026. Let's take a little sample from Double M.
I have 11 road matches. I know the rules. I've never broken the rules. I am not a rule breaker.
Amid concerns that Machel Montano may have broken road march rules, the record holder is making it clear he knows his craft, invests in himself, and puts in the work. Speaking from the TSTT executive box in the Oval, Montano says the theme for this year was chasing greatness, besting the late Lord Kitchener's record. Yet Montano says instead of his achievement being respected, his peers are teaming up to sully his name. And while he says there's no rift between him and Bunji Garlin, Montano pointed out the incongruity of his public refusal to enter the competition only to register his song at the last minute.
If it's a rigged system, why partake in it?
And Montano points out Bunji's late entry hurt Voice's road march chances more than his. He also refuted claims he intentionally performed at Flavor Village for free to compete with Bunji's Hard Fat, which was also held Carnival Friday at the Savannah.
I was requested by the government of Trinidad and Tobago to perform at Flavor Village for free. I was requested. They asked me what was the available date I had.
Today's launch marks Montano's welcome return into the Brew Mobile family. The telecommunications company is supporting his Songbridge, which is a music incubator for producers. Montano says while he's not retiring, he will be shifting his focus into following the path carved out on the world stage by Afrobeats and reggaeton. He says soca deserves global attention and he's going to do his best to make that happen. Soini Gray, CNC3 News.
You know, I'm kind of over people. You know, I mean, listen, everyone will have their opinion, and people have lots to say about Machel, but you have to consider when someone would have spent 44 years of their life, started a career from the tender age of I mean, we're talking here, a boy, a child, went through rough times, because it wasn't always milk and honey and victories. He went through many years of nobody buying his music, no one taking him on, performing in places like Upper Level Club for party time, singing out his heart and soul, and his peers watching him like a statue, and then man coming up and lip sync and do hip hop dance and mashing up the place. So he went through it all. And the reality is that he endured and the man still remains. And people like Machel, Iowa George, Super Blue, I give them the maximum respect. They have been able to transcend from then to now. And we still know them, we still see them on stage. So I think we have to give them the flowers and instead of criticize, take example and analyze what kept them in the game so long, what is their sustaining and lasting power, and try to apply it to ourselves. Congrats, Machel. Well done. Well done. And people who fighting him, and it's a lost cause. Them fellas and them gone. All right? Let's take the pause as we get ready. It's your World Day of Social Justice, and we get a chance to touch base with the leader of the movement for social justice, David Abdullah. He joins me next.
Gaming Express Limited is a premium importer and retailer of the highest quality brand name electronics. We stock the widest range of PlayStation, Nintendo Switch, Samsung, and Apple devices and accessories. Visit us at Shop 52, Level 2, Gulf City Mall in San Fernando, or contact us by phone or WhatsApp message at 687-7480 or 301-9797 or 798-1280. Like our Facebook and Instagram pages for updates on products and services.
Never ever worry, don't mind how things looking hard. I tell them never ever worry, if you're nice can't get damaged bad. I tell them never ever worry, what I'm saying is true. So just consider, Tattoo will always be here for you. Tattoo, where people are people. You know what I mean.
Cherished moments echo on for generations. For all the moments I value, Quartz has and will always be my store. Quartz, bringing value home.
Considering a career in procurement or supply chain? Start the Chartered Institute of Procurement and Supply, CIPS, program at CTS College. CIPS is internationally recognized as the leading professional accreditation for procurement and supply chain professionals. It covers industry-related topics like strategic sourcing, contract management, and ethical practices. With 1 day of class per week and 6 intake periods, students can get certified in as little as 6 months. Contact CTS College today and ask about our flexible payment options and how you can get up to $2,700 off.
Get the story first. Want to know what's happening in news, sports, or crime? Get the CNC3 app. As the story breaks, CNC3 is there giving you the story first on your mobile device. Be connected to the most trusted and reliable news source, CNC3. Access your world with just a tap. The CNC3 app. Download it today.
Is reliable, credible, and authentic. Thank you for trusting me to bring you the news. It's a privilege to be in your homes and hearts. With every story and every newscast, CNC3 is keeping you informed and inspired. When it comes to news, we are where you are.
Filmmakers, producers, content creators, influencers, and recording artists. If you're looking to rent a versatile studio space with green screen, video wall, cyclorama, and more, look no further. GM Labs is here to make your dreams a reality. Located in the heart of Port of Spain on St. Vincent Street, GM Labs is your one-stop shop for all your creative needs with over 2,800 square feet to work with. Take your creative concept to the final product at GM Labs. Give us a call or WhatsApp or message us on our Instagram and Facebook pages at GM Labs TT.
Always a joy to have David Abdullah here with me on the set. He's going to join me on the Zoom line this morning. Not physically here, but we always enjoy our impactful conversations via our Zoom link. We are treating today with the World Day of Social Justice, and you are the leader of the Movement for Social Justice. So in that regard, a very important discussion. Mr. Abdullah, good morning to you and welcome.
Morning, JW. Morning to all who are tuned in, and my apologies for running a bit late this morning.
No problem at all. Great to have you as always. Through your lens, how do you define social justice?
Key question. So I always like to refer to the Constitution of Trinidad and Tobago because most of us are not familiar with the Constitution that is supposed to be our overarching and most important law. And in the preamble to the Constitution, which unfortunately the preamble is not enforceable by way of court action and so on, but it sets out the principles and values, if you wish, by which Trinidad and Tobago ought to operate, that the government ought to live up to what is stated in the preamble. So I want to read it. It says, whereas the people of Trinidad and Tobago, I'm just going to read for the A, B, C, D, E, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 subclauses of the preamble, but I'm going to read the second one. Whereas the people of Trinidad and Tobago respect the principles of social justice and therefore believe that the operation of the economic system should result in the material resources of the community being so distributed as to subserve the common good, that there should be adequate means of livelihood for all, that labor should not be exploited or forced by economic necessity to operate in inhumane conditions, and that there should be opportunity for advancement on the basis of recognition of merit, ability, and integrity. So that is what is in our Constitution. And I like to use that as a definition of social justice because nobody could say, well, that is David talking some kind of, arbitrary, theoretical or academic talk about social justice or why we named the party the Movement for Social Justice. We did that because we are rooted in the very principles of the Constitution. And the first part is the most important part because, people talk about social justice maybe in terms of things like equal opportunity and so on, all of which are important. But we like to stress on the first part of this clause, which says, believe that the operation of the economic system should result in the material resources of the community being so distributed as to subserve the common good. Unfortunately, in Trinidad and Tobago, we have an economy which comes out of the old colonial plantation economy, which in many respects has not changed. Although we have been independent since 1962, we've been a republic since 1976, because the economic resources, economic system that we have does not actually result in the material resources of the community serving the common good. In our view, this largest element of our resources actually get distributed to serve the good of a few. And so we have this huge inequality of incomes and wealth. Sometimes we see reported in the newspaper how much the CEO of a company may get, $100,000 a month plus perks and so on. And then we realize that it would take a minimum wage worker working for just over $3,000 a month, X number of years to earn what that CEO will get in a month. That is a kind of inequality and disparity in lives.
And that's the conundrum, really, because what's described there via the Constitution, de jure versus de facto. One thing is said, one thing is established via law, but the practice is far removed from what is established via law. And if there's equity, I think we will have less of our social ills, because people always speak of crime and criminality and some of the injustice that happens. But I believe if equity exists, true equity, people will have no choice. Well, they will have better choices, and they will not take that ultimate choice of having to take or to go down a particular road. And my question really is, as we celebrate this particular day, without, let's say, a revolution, how could we have a shift?
Right, and I like to talk about a revolution, but a revolution of the mind, because I think that's where it has to start from. And it really means that we have to be courageous enough to break the status quo of a political culture and a political system that entrenches the inequalities and inequity that exists in Trinidad and Tobago. A political culture and a political system that puts in concrete, if you wish, sets in concrete the kind of discrimination that results in opportunity for advancement not being on the basis of meritability and integrity, but on the basis of where you live, where you don't live, and so on. What are the surrounding environments that you have that enable some children to do better than others, and that kind of thing, that sets in concrete the reality that labor is still being exploited. And also that there is not an adequate means of livelihood for everybody. A lot of people live in terrible poverty. Others can't make it from payday to payday. So you're right. How do we change this? Or how do we achieve what we aspire to as set out in the preamble of the Constitution, which is social justice? And in my view, we have to therefore try to have a revolution in mind which says, you can't continue to vote in a particular way that divides us as a people by race and by religion and other things, but which leaves us, and which we believe, when we support Party A or Party B, we believe that we are voting in our own interest, when in truth and in fact we are voting to maintain the status quo of an economic system that has us in the majority of the people living in problems and a few benefiting. Indeed.
What's carded for the World Day of Social Justice? Any particular major plans, any gathering, any meeting? What's on the agenda?
No, we actually haven't done that. It being so soon after Carnival. Next year, Carnival is a week earlier, so I think we probably will do something. This media interview is great because normally I would issue a media release, but I probably will use this media interview as our means of communicating what social justice is all about. I saw your interview yesterday, so I know that Cipriani College of Labor and Cooperative Studies, of which I was chairman of the board, 20 years ago when the college expanded and all those facilities were put in, is having something this weekend. But no, we're focusing on some other things coming up in the next few days, which we'll be announcing on in terms of international solidarity, because, of course, next week, CARICOM heads of government meet, and so, we'll be making statements on behalf of the Assembly of Caribbean people that deal with the situation in Cuba and Haiti and so on, because those are issues of concern. Because one of the things about social justice as well is that, we have to be in solidarity with others whose circumstances are very difficult because there's a global political and economic system. So let me just add that dimension of social justice. There's a global political and economic system, which means that the global resources and even the resources of some countries are being taken over or are historically controlled and owned in such a way that the people of those countries do not benefit. And one of the greatest problems in the world today is global inequality, because, as you know, the richest 100 billionaires have the same wealth as the poorest 50% of the world's people, of 3-4 billion people. That can't continue, and they want more and more and more, and that is wrong. They want to grab all. And there's also the issue, for example, that was stated by Marco Rubio, if I can just digress for 1 second, where he said at the Munich Security Conference the other day that Western civilization, what is called Western civilization, is the greatest civilization of all, that nobody else can achieve that. Now, that's a fundamentally racist statement. Yes, and he talked about America, how America was built, but he never said that America was also built, the United States of America was also built on the exploitation and enslavement of African people, or the genocide of indigenous people, and the capture of land and therefore wealth by white European settlers and so on from indigenous people, the first peoples. Never spoke about that. So it's a fundamentally racist construct which we have to call out, and therefore identify that there can be no justice. Well, let me put it the other way around. I think it was Martin Luther King that said, there can be no justice anywhere until there's justice everywhere.
Yeah.
And that's a very important idea, and therefore we have to engage in solidarity with one another.
And indeed, Mr. Abdullah, as we wrap things up, this conversation is always a very important one. I know we will continue in the weeks and months ahead. As always, thanks for coming on, and we wish you the very best. Thanks for touching base.
Thanks for having me this morning, JW. Take care. Appreciate it.
Indeed. Again, World Day of Social Justice, most important conversation. We take the pause. We come back. Much more on this Friday. It's your Morning Brew. See you soon.
The game showing clean, dog.
Hey, it's fast internet and best entertainment I paying for,
Yeah, girl. You heard my good, eh?
Hey, the call not sticking. So why are you taking so long to reply to your messages?
Hey, I get Wi-Fi quite out, eh?
Yeah, boy, that's Amplia. But what are you doing outside? Come inside and lime now.
I'm coming there.
Wi-Fi so fast, you'll be saying,
hey, it's Amplia.
Get ready for extreme laughter, extreme bacchanal, extreme drama on the biggest comedy stage for 2026 Laugh Festival. Come witness Tommy Joseph
appearing as 3 mega icons.
Joining him are some of his famous comedy friends: the Caribbean Prince of Comedy, Ronald, the Caribbean Princess of Comedy, Margaret, Stephen John, Captain Barry, Fareed Ali, Nuts Landing, Dan the Man.
So Tommy, what really went on with you in the Tobago airport?
Just imagine I in the airport waiting for transport. Nobody ain't come to carry me to the hotel. It's the radar that picked me up.
Roddy X and the crew, the Macomita Comedy Crew, from the USA, the Quiet Prince. 2 shows only. This Friday, February 20th, Cafe Blue Compound, right around 8 p.m. This Sunday, February 22nd, Sapa San Fernando, 5 p.m. Laugh Festival 2026, where comedy has gone extreme.
Some of us like to test limits, but there won't always be second chances. Obey the speed limits. Maybe you don't value your life, but others value theirs. A message from the TTPS.
Get the story first. Want to know what's happening in news, sports, or crime? Get the CNC3 app. As the story breaks, CNC3 is there giving you the story first on your mobile device. Be connected to the most trusted and reliable news source, CNC3. Access your world with just a tap. The CNC3 app. Download it today.
Is reliable, credible, and authentic. Thank you for trusting me to bring you the news. It's a privilege to be in your homes and hearts. With every story and every newscast, CNC3 is keeping you informed and inspired. When it comes to news, we are where you are.
September 7th.
All roads lead to New York Carnival Week, presented by
Wiadka.
Get ready for 5 days of music,
mass,
culture,
panorama, road,
kiddies carnival, and more.
Enjoy the mass.
Feel the rhythm.
Visit carnival.nyc
or follow Wiadka Carnival on FB and IG for more.
See you there.
Well, that's how you do your promotion, nice and early, and you touch in with the Mecca to get everyone excited. I mean, yes, it's September, it's a couple of months away, but we all know that the celebration in New York City, it is second to none. With me this morning, the first vice president of the West Indian American Day Carnival Association, Rhea Smith. Rhea, welcome. She's just checking in before she heads back north, soaking in all the sun and the warmth before you deal with the freezing temperatures out there.
Listen, I'm not looking forward.
Oh my goodness, Rhea. Welcome back home, and of course I look forward to the details concerning festivals. So you look at Labor Day no more. It kind of change up the branding.
Change up, yeah, according to the times and the branding. New York Carnival Week is what we call the whole session, which is Thursday to Monday.
Yeah.
New York Carnival Parade and the music festival relates to the concerts. Of course, we still have Panorama and Junior Carnival.
And it's still the route down the Eastern Parkway?
That is right. Eastern Parkway from Buffalo, Rochester, all the way down to Grand Army Plaza.
Would you say, based on festivals, because I know what happens in Toronto, they say it brings in the most in terms of any one-day festival. Is it one of the biggest on that eastern seaboard?
Yes, for the week, starting from the Thursday to the Monday, when you're looking at on-the-ground spectators, you're about 3 million feet on the ground. And then, of course, with all the media and all of that, it's upwards of about 20 million views. And with feet on the ground, we as an organization have to ensure those feet on the ground. So costs are, as any other festival, exorbitant, but we work through it.
And in that regard, do you get help from corporate New York and more so support from the state?
We get support from the city, the state. We have government grants. We also get support from the city agencies, FDNY, Fire Department, Police Department, sanitation, transportation. Because what our organization, we're 59 years, we've been doing this for a while now, we are proud to say that our organization generates about a $500 million U.S. Economic stimulus to city and state. And so because of that, we have the agencies that are involved to secure that tourism dollar. And so we get a lot of support from the setup, from the NYPD meetings, working with violence interrupters that are on the ground to ensure safety measures, working with all of the cultural practitioners, which are the mass bands and our steel bands, which of course we can't do anything without them, and ensuring that all of these things are in place from A to Z. And then of course even at the end, we do, post-mortem meetings and stuff for them.
Fantastic. And I mean, I'm glad you mentioned the security aspect, because I know for sure the presence is strong. I see from helicopters to boots on the ground, drones, plainclothesmen.
Exactly.
Because I mean, I know there was a point in time things would have been, I was there on the parkway at the time, I had to be running. I don't know where you're running from. But that was back in the day. I feel you all have kind of locked in that safety aspect now.
Yes, we've minimized, we've prioritized, and we've strategized a lot and sort of zoned in on the hotspots, which there are not many, but elements are elements, and it's carnival and revelry, and what takes place in Trinidad, which is what we fashion a lot of our events after. Trinidad has extended times, it has numerous venues and places. New York is not like that anymore. Back in the day, they used to be reveling all till 8, 9 o'clock at night. Barnyards would be, outdoor steel band venues, or arenas now we call them, would be open till all 2, 3 in the morning. All that has stopped just based on gentrification and, people aging out and wanting quiet time. So we have very restrictive times to stop. Our parade ends at 6 p.m. roughly. And even the groups that are, playing and practicing, they have to shut down. I think during the week is 11 and weekends is midnight.
Indeed. So it's really, I would imagine out of the 3 million, the foot traffic is really spectators. I mean, obviously I know there are many who would take part. I've seen the Haitian float, the Jamaicans have a major presence now.
That's right.
See lots of the dancehall artists on the
And they're coming with soca too, right?
Right, and the mass obviously there, but the majority is really people just soaking in the atmosphere.
Soaking in, those who can't visit their countries. And we've now have added spectators. Other countries have carnival, Mexico. And so even Asian population, we now bring the Chinese dragons as part of the opening ceremonies. So there's a lot of our indigenous Native American peoples, they're there too, because that slice of Eastern Parkway is part of their land. So we do a lot of ceremonial, ancestral kind of tributes as well.
I don't want to bring some of the hardcore politics of what's happening in the U.S. into such a beautiful conversation, but I know there are many who are concerned with ICE and what's happening in the U.S. Do you anticipate there would be some who might want to lie a bit low, not knowing what could transpire come September with ICE on their particular agenda?
Well, it started from this past September, and so we do have that. ICE is a real thing, and it largely has I would say disproportionately affected our community. And we are very cognizant of that. We work with our elected officials who provide free legal services, immigration services for those who need that. On the ground, they have the office hours and such, but we are cognizant of that in terms of working very closely with NYPD to secure and safely ensure that there's nobody running from ICE on the parkway, that kind of thing. What we want to make sure is that our festival is a festival of culture, happiness, life, excitement, and celebration for not just the people, but for our contributions, of which New York, New York State, New York City, United States are continuously benefiting from. And so for that, we have a voice. It's a voter's voice, and we have a large voting bloc in New York particularly. We have the largest Caribbean contingent or population outside of the Caribbean. And so whether you're one side or the other, one party or the other. You need that vote. And so our voice makes a difference.
Yeah, indeed. And, you know, when you consider New York, the appeal on its own is there, and then you put Carnival on top of that. It's only spectacular.
Well, New York sets the trend in a lot of ways,
for sure.
Yes.
Let me ask, in terms of the association, what's the regional makeup like? I know there is obviously that Trinbago representation, but is it that you all have voices from other islands that kind of add to the pool?
The organization within itself. We have members from Grenada, we have Jamaican, of course Trinidadian, we have a Haitian representation, our influencers, like my area as a board member and first vice president. I head up the legislative team, I head up the media team, and I also work with many of the members on the entertainment team. And so we have a member from Africa, Ghana and Nigeria.
Excellent.
Because these are the influence, this is, first of all, that's where it all comes from, right? And so these are the I would say the sauce, the magic sauce that puts it all together. And so, especially working with young people, they're hearing things, they're doing things differently, and so it's just a no-brainer to have them as part of the team.
You know, I think from my own personal experience out of Trinidad, when we look at just economy of scale and the numbers, for sure Toronto in August, I mean, it's huge. That
magnificent, yes.
That Lakeshore, people tell you, if you lose a friend, you lost them.
That's it for the day.
Notting Hill, another, I mean, the biggest festival there in probably Europe, and for sure in London. And of course New York, and it's all Trinidad and Tobago based carnival. And I feel so proud because I'm saying to myself, we've been able to send this to the world and look at what we're doing, and it's impacting not only the diaspora, but people who generally will not ever would have probably never experienced a carnival until they would have stepped out a New York Parkway experience or Toronto, and they fall in love with it.
And not only that, our organization, we have year-round programs. So outside of the carnival, which we call our signature event for the year, our seasonal ending event, we have mass making, construction, wire bending, stilt walking, steel band, arrangement, all of that business of carnival, business of music for youths in schools. We also have them in senior centers because, as you know, our seniors was the previous generation doing all of this. And to see them just lighten up and brighten up in their senior centers, making their costumes, doing their competition in their senior centers, and then the winners come on the parkway with their costumes and their senior bus. It's just a wonderful intergenerational, full circle moment.
It's a legacy. I remember my dad was a part of, I think, Borokeets.
Yes, Borokeets was one of the fantastic big bands. There's still Sesame Flyers.
Sesame Flyers?
Yes, Sesame Curtis, and they still